Welcome to another episode of GW Recap with me, your host Cardell Dudley, and George Washington sent a hell of a message last night with a win, a big time win over South Carolina, a dominant win to say the least, 79-55 over South Carolina. It was their first Power Five game in the Smith Center in years. And not only did the team show up, but the GW faithful they showed up, man, and showed out, and you could feel the spirit coming back with that win, during that win especially, but definitely even prior to it, driving to the arena, the tailgates, the crowd waiting to get in, the anticipation. Haven't seen that from a GW team, truthfully, since the good old days of Joe McDonald, Patricia Garino, Yuta Watanabe, Tyler Kavanaugh, and Kevin Larson. Those guys, man, when they were competing for A10 titles and NCAA tournament bids, they were always in the mix throughout their run, man. So it was especially great to see. Look, South Carolina came in with a lot of hype. They have a projected lottery pick in Gregory Jackson II. So a lot of people were there to see him, their freshman big. And coming in, studying South Carolina as the game approached, one of the things I saw was they look to Jackson to get going first, and then they feed off whatever he's doing, the output he's going on, and then that opens things up for the rest of the team, and then they get going. And once that happens, the floodgates open, and they're tough to beat. So coming into the game, my thing was I figured James Bishop and Brandon Adams, who I'll be talking about in a little bit, will be able to do their fair share of damage, just obviously off their high major experience and their ability, the way they've been playing all season on both ends, feeding off one another, taking turns running point, taking turns being the two. It's been great to see. But Ricky Lindo was the X factor for me for GW. I felt like if he slowed down Gregory Jackson II, which is a tall order because that kid is talented and it's clear. You can see, even though he didn't shoot the best, which I'll touch on, you can see the talent. His versatility is crazy. He's very, very talented on both ends. So Ricky Lindo needed to contain him, and if you contain him, everything should fall in place for GW, and that's exactly what happened. Ricky Lindo Jr. did an excellent job of just making Gregory Jackson II work, forced him to take tough shots, which he did not hit. Then it put the pressure on the others for South Carolina, the Chico Carters, the Hayden Browns, and those guys. They had to try to step up and pick up the slack. But then they had to deal with James Bishop and Brandon Adams, who's putting the pressure on them all offensively, torching them, and then and is equally game defensively. And South Carolina couldn't get it going. They held South Carolina to 27%, I believe, shooting from the field in the first half, and led 40-20. And that was pretty much all she wrote. South Carolina never recovered. James Bishop finished with a game high 24 points, 8 assists, 8 and 19 shooting from the field, 5 or 8 from deep, along with 3 rebounds. Brandon Adams added 18 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists with 7 of 14 shooting from the field, 4 of 9 from deep. Ricky Lindo Jr. posted 15 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, and 6 of 8 shooting from the field, 1 of 3 from the line. Hunter Dean, can't forget about him. His presence inside, the athleticism, the rim protection, even altering shots. Same thing. 8 points, 4 rebounds, and 3 assists. The high-low game between him and Lindo, that's continually to get better. It was beautiful to see. He had a nice lob from just outside three-point range to Ricky Lindo for a dunk during the game, man. It was just great basketball to see. But ultimately, the reason why GW won this game, we could talk about all the scoring and stuff like that, it was just their team defense. Holding the South Carolina team that any college team, holding them to 20-some% shooting from the field is very, very difficult to do, especially playing man-to-man. They swarmed those guys in South Carolina, man. When they took a dribble, they saw 2 or 3 jerseys and held position ready, active hands, And when they try to kick it back out to swing it, they try to get an open shooter. GW is recovering with efficiency, getting back out to the shooters, contesting, and applying pressure there as well. I'm pretty sure for some spurts, South Carolina thought it was probably like 10 dudes on the court. That's how great GW's defense is, and it's been building all year. And you got to give that staff a lot of credit, man. That's something the defensive intensity and execution is something we haven't seen the last few years. This new regime, they're not playing with that, and it's paying immediate dividends. That's why they're currently 5-2. Look, I'm not gonna knock South Carolina. Gregory Jackson is talented. Look, Ricky Lindo forced him into some tough shots. But his the way he was attacking, Lindo and Hunter Dean and the rest of their bigs off the bounce, he was hard to deal with, and he was creating space. He was creating separation. A lot of his shots were going in and out. He just missed. It just happens. That's why he was 4-17, 1-6, 1-5 from deep. But then he didn't quit. He still kept competing, which is great to see from a freshman. Keep in mind, he's only 17 years old. He's a youngster. That's why he's a special talent, and projected lottery pick, projected top 5 pick in some mock drafts. If you look at it, Chico Carter tried to provide a spurt. I think he came in the game shooting 53% from deep. He shot 3 of 4 of 8 from the field, 3 or 4 from 3-point range. He had a team high of 13 points. Probably should have shot more. But the way GW was suffocating and trapping him whenever he turned the corner, it looked like he had some daylight, and guarding him with size. Chico Carter Jr., 6'2", 6'3", Brandon Adams, 6'5", big body guard. You throw Lindo out there. If you try to turn the corner on switches, Hunter Dean is right there. Max Edwards there, 6'6", 6'7", and James Bishop is the same size. So he was seeing a lot of size, a lot of length, and a lot of quickness whenever he tried to turn the corner, and it made it tough for him to get over. But the times he did have some daylight, he did make GW pay. And he's a sharpshooter, one of the best shooters in the SEC. So it wasn't uncharacteristic and unforeseen to see him get loose and get going. All in all, man, it was just a beautiful, beautiful win, and one that should put people on notice as far as GW basketball, put people on notice as far as the A-10 basketball, and should spark GW to try to pile up wins before conference play comes, because conference play is always harder than the non-conference, because every team knows what you're doing. Every team is familiar with your personnel, sets, the coaching, the adjustments, and the players. So it can get tough, man. And keep piling up wins and trying to make a run. Not just for the A-10, make a run again in the tournament. That's what it is. They have a team capable of doing that, especially with the firepower. And before I get out of here, I have to show James Bishop and Brandon Adams some love. I know both Baltimore natives, but the way they've been clicking, feeding off one another, sharing point guard loads, sharing off-ball guard loads, shooting the ball well, defending well, helping out, leading. To me, if they're not the best backcourt in the A-10 right now, they're certainly top 2 or 3. It's no question the way they're playing. You can't deny it, and they're a big reason why GW is 5-2. A lot of the success depends on how they execute, how they play game in and game out. And they've been game. They've been game. I talked to a college coach before the season, and he said when players, usually when players are in their senior year, when it's kind of the end, they really, really lock in. This is their last hurrah. They're not trying to go out losing. They're not trying to have any regrets. They really are zeroed in on playing great basketball and winning games. They don't care about nothing else. And that's kind of what you're seeing from Brandon Adams and James Bishop, and it's been great to see. Great to see. Hopefully they can keep it up. I believe they can. And I know their game. I know they're ready to continue to keep it up. But that's all from me. I believe GW's next game is Sunday, 2 p.m. at Radford. So I'll be back with another GW recap following that game. Just stay with me throughout the season. I'm going to have plenty of GW coverage as we go. So thank you for tuning in. See you at the next game.